Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is Sarcasm Speaks. It's Jared and Bob. Um, off of our six-man screen of our last episode. We're both a lot bigger,
The
probably.
elimination chamber.
Yeah. There once was six and now two. And wouldn't you know, in the last 48 hours since we recorded, no one has died on our list yet.
That's so weird.
So it's all right. We got 344 days left. So we'll
Hmm.
see.
We can go 0 for 344.
We could actually, yeah. We very well could.
Although I don't think people think about how hard it is to actually pick someone to die. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how many people die per day,
Yeah.
but the
Especially
fact that
when you have to go and pick a celebrity, right? Because like
well, it's just got to be, well, it's going to be someone you've heard of. It can't be, Jim that's three doors down.
exactly. It could be Jim from Three Doors Down.
Is there a
The
Jim in
the
Three Doors
band.
Down?
I
Does
have
anybody
I
know
have
of
no
any
idea.
band members of Three Doors Down?
Nope, I don't know a single one. But yeah, I mean it's not as easy as people would think. We've been doing it for 6 years now. And
Yeah, I mean, we hit like one to three a
we only
year.
had one good year, right? Yeah, every year we get one to three, and we had that one year where we hit like five.
Yeah. Hmm.
I can confirm there is no one named Jim in Three Doors Down.
Well, that's good. Wouldn't
Yeah.
want anything bad to happen to Jim.
Yeah. Um, all right. So Trump is back. That happened yesterday. Um, the
Do
Capitol
women
didn't
have
blow
rights
up.
still? Do
Yeah,
women still have rights?
remarkably, women still have rights.
That's crazy.
Um, it's
I'm sorry. Is slavery back?
I don't think slavery's back,
Oh,
no.
okay. What else did we hear?
At least not in America. There is still slavery in the rest of the world, which
Right,
which people conveniently like to ignore.
right. What else did we hear? Oh, nationwide abortion ban, right? Did that happen?
Yeah. Nope. Nope.
Okay. And then going the other way with it too. Have all the people who oppose Trump, have they been rounded up and captured in nets and put in jail yet?
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, that's not happening. Okay.
No.
Have Elon and Vivek were like laid off like a million people?
Nope.
No, they haven't done that either. Oh, weird. So it's almost like just another year of inauguration, which doesn't have it's quadrennial, but it's almost just like another day in fucking life.
Just about. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's so odd. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be different, dude. I thought democracy was at stake.
So one of my favorite things that I've seen people put on Twitter is going after Trump, saying that he declared Mexican cartels a foreign terrorist organization. So basically, what that does is it allows him to use military force against the drug cartels, right, in Mexico. And everyone is blowing him up, saying, this is unbelievable. He's going way outside of how the government is structured. He's waging war without any votes from Congress and all this. And shout out to Dan Holloway, who's from the Drinking Bros podcast, who replied to actually it's Crystal Ball from Crystal and Sagar, who has completely fallen off into the deep left end of the pool. I stopped listening to their show a while ago because I couldn't handle her insane takes. Um, but she was the one that tweeted that about, oh my God, Trump, whatever, this, that. And Dan Holloway replied and goes, shut the fuck up, you stupid bitch. He goes, all of the people that you are like pounding your chest for, whatever he said, have been funding wars for the last 4 years in Ukraine. And he goes, and not once has Congress voted on any military conflict since World War II. So shut the fuck up. And I was like, hey, man, he nailed it. He gotcha. He's not wrong. Like, oh, but that's the thing. All of these people, right? They're like, oh, he's making it so we're going to go to war with Mexico, and we're not going to do this,
We
and
go to war with
we're
Mexico.
not going
That's
to have
that's the
to.
most hilarious
Yeah,
thing I've ever
yeah, I
heard. Like,
know,
imagine being concerned with war with Mexico.
I know, I know.
The
And
U.S. would
then,
be bigger,
yeah, we would have the real Gulf of America.
and truthfully, the U.S. probably doesn't want to take Mexico because that's a huge population that's probably, or I'm sorry, the current administration probably doesn't want to just take Mexico.
Yeah,
That's a huge population that's probably not going to go conservative.
yeah. But they like these people, right? They're saying like Crystal, he's going outside of his, proper roles to declare war on Mexican cartels, and there's no votes from Congress and all this. And again, like Dan just laid it out. He goes, "You've been supporting war in Ukraine, like actual war in Ukraine, and whether these people choose one side or the other, they've been supporting the war in Israel. Whether they support Palestine or whether they support Hamas, they still are supporting war in Israel, right? So between Ukraine and Israel, they've been supporting war in one way or another in the last 4 years. Congress hasn't voted on that, right? So it's like
Apparently they haven't voted in 80 years.
they haven't actually. They didn't vote on the first Gulf War, the second Gulf War, the Vietnam, which actually that's why I found out probably I think around the time we were in high school, they stopped calling it the Vietnam War and started calling it the Vietnam conflict because Congress never made a declaration of war.
So are
So,
any of them wars? I know
no.
the Korean conflict. I know that. So I also believe like it was called the Korean War for a long time. Then they changed that like a long time ago
Yeah.
because I actually don't think it was any actual war. Like, did we really fucking fight the Koreans?
No, we helped the South Koreans fight the North Koreans, but I mean, that was it.
Yeah. So it's like not really our war.
No, but we fought in it a little bit.
Right, but so it can't be, but so it goes to the same point though. It can't be a war if we don't
Yeah,
declare.
we weren't the like aggressor. We weren't the main party.
Um,
To be honest, we've only been the main party in two wars, the Revolutionary and World War II.
Civil War, we were pretty key.
Well, I don't count the Civil War because it's a civil war. It's us against us. Like there's only
Hey,
one entity.
exactly.
But I mean of like
But hey, remember,
larger,
we did win.
that's true. We did win. We also lost.
No,
Yeah.
no, 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 we didn't lose. U.S. never loses wars.
Yeah. But I mean as far as like multi um multi-country wars and conflicts, we've only been the main aggressor twice. Right? Because we supported World War One, we supported the Korean War, we supported Vietnam. I mean, I guess you could probably say Vietnam, but there was a lot more going on. Yeah, I don't know. It gets kind of goofy. It depends on what kind of parameters you want to put
Yeah,
on it,
or
I
it's
suppose.
what semantics? War of
Yeah.
1812. That seemed legit.
Is that France? We fought France
Yeah, it was England.
with France's help.
I don't know. France is one of those. I mean,
France helped us fight the Indians, the Native
was
Americans.
it the what? No, didn't we help them in the like the Franco-Indian War or whatever?
Yeah, is that what it was? I knew there was a
1812 was U.S. and Great Britain. I don't know. I don't know where France. I assume France helped us out.
It might have helped us out during the revolution.
I think they did. What the thing is, like, I mean, France is a fraud of a fucking country, but like they have been our ally since like the beginning of time.
Yeah. Yeah, they sent us the really nice Statue of Liberty.
Well, thank God for the Italians that for the guy to find the inspiration for that. So I Googled the War of 1812, so the AI overview. Causes trade restrictions. The British restricted trade with France to discourage trade with the United States. Impressment. The British Navy impressed American sailors. I don't think they, uh, were like wowing them with their abilities. And the American sailors were like, wow,
I'm impressed.
we're impressed. Native American policy. The British aided Native American tribes in their attacks on American citizens. That's interesting. No one ever brings that up.
Hmm.
I mean, what the white man did was like a million times worse than anything they could have ever done, but
Right. Right.
takes two to tango, right?
Yeah.
Um, Significance was the first large-scale test of the American Republic on the world stage, sometimes called the Second War of Independence. I mean, I guess. The war ended in a draw on the battlefield. That sounds like we won because we were barely a country then, and fucking England was like,
Yeah. The largest empire in the world.
yeah, and we bitched them out again.
The sun never sets on the British Empire. Ha ha ha.
Yep,
But
hardy har.
hardy har. It fucking set here. We fucked them with rocks and sticks.
We might have actually had an army back then.
Yeah, we had a militia. So we did not have a standing army until World War II. It's actually not in the Constitution. Fun fact. The Constitution has written that we should have a standing navy, but nowhere in it says that we require to have a standing army. Now, in this day and age, obviously, it's implied that we need a standing army, right? Because we're the not necessarily the largest country population wise or whatever, but I think we still are the largest GDP wise. It probably is pretty close at this point between us and China, just because they have so many more people. Um, but still, it's we're the top dog with the target on our back. If we were to ever just not have a standing army, it's like, what the fuck are we doing? Like we're just asking to just get fucked, right? Like someone just come over and start attacking.
That's the thing is, so if we didn't have a standing army, then we would need an army.
It's true. It's very true. Um, but yeah, yeah, it is actually written in the Constitution. I think it was Thomas Jefferson that created the Navy and wrote it into the Constitution that the United States at all times should have a standing Navy to protect its waterways. Um, but yeah, because that's one of the things that Dan Holloway brings up from time to time. He's like, yeah, it's, shouldn't have a standing army. Like, no, it doesn't say that in the Constitution. It's like, all right, yeah, I understand the point, but like, can we be a little bit realistic here? Like to your point, right? If we didn't have an army,
We would need one.
we would need an army. So
Yeah, that
yeah,
makes no sense.
yeah. It made a lot more sense probably 100 years ago, right? Or at this point, no, maybe 150 years ago. Um, in the late 19th century. But once we got to once World War One happened, you need an army. Like you need to have an army because at any point you could just break out into a world war. See, 10 years later when World War Two started, right? Or 15 years later after World War One. Um, and then, 30 years after that with Vietnam. And I guess before that was Korea, but still, you know what I mean? It's just everywhere. So at this point, you need an army. Um, but I digress. Trump, back to Trump, the guy in charge. The one thing I saw, and this is going to kind of go to your point of it's just another presidential inauguration on a quadrennial path, right? Like nothing crazy is happening. Women aren't immediately stripped of their rights. The 19th Amendment is still in place, right? Like there's no nationwide abortion, there's no slavery back, there's no nothing. It's this shit just doesn't happen, right? It's just it's made up, it's fake. Another example of that is one of Trump's executive orders that he signed is called Delivering Emergency Price Relief for American Families and Defeating the Cost of Living Crisis. Now, face value, that sounds really good, right? Because I saw that yesterday and I was like, wow, that's cool. I want to learn more about that. And I couldn't find anything. So I had to go to whitehouse.gov, right, and search through and find this executive order. And I found it. So that's the title. Delivering emergency price relief for American families and defeating the cost of living crisis. That sounds great. How are we going to do that? Well, there's one, two, three, four, five paragraphs. The first four paragraphs are bullshit. It's just rambling, right? Talking about how awful the Biden administration was and how he was so much better. Okay, got it. Cool. The final paragraph, I'll read to you right now. I hereby order the heads of all executive departments and agencies to deliver emergency price relief consistent with applicable law to the American people and increase the prosperity of the American worker. This shall include pursuing appropriate actions to lower the cost of housing and expand housing supply, eliminate unnecessary administrative expenses and rent-seeking practices that increase healthcare costs, eliminate counterproductive requirements that raise the cost of home appliances, create employment opportunities for American workers, including drawing discouraged workers back into the labor force, and eliminate harmful coercive climate policies with the which increase costs of food and fuel. Within 30 days of the date of this memorandum, the Assistant to the President for the Economy Policy shall report to me, and every 30 days thereafter, on the status and implementation of this memorandum. That's that's basically nothing.
Mhm. So unfortunately, it's something.
It's
But the
something, but
problem
it's
is,
very vague
it's
and
almost
there's
like a
no
college
specific
kid.
direction.
It's a college kid with ideas.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. It's a college kid that had to
Okay,
write a
so
paper
how are we gonna execute
at
that?
11 o'clock when it was due at midnight.
Yeah, how are we gonna execute that?
Because you're just saying things, right? You're just saying,
There's one tangible, or I mean like semi-tangible, and it's the climate policies.
yeah, yeah, I agree with that. Because the climate
That's like the
policies
only
increase
semi-tangible thing.
increase prices. I forget who said this. I either saw it somewhere on Twitter, or I heard it on a podcast with someone. Um, but they said the cost of energy drives the cost of everything. When the cost of energy goes down, the cost of everything else goes down because everything requires energy. Whether you need electricity to power the factories to make the shit, or you need gas and diesel in the trucks to bring the shit from the warehouse to the stores, or you know what I mean? Like just to travel around and get it around, like everything requires energy. So when energy is cheap, everything else is cheap. And I was like, that's seems really oversimplified, but also like it makes a ton of sense. And the whole climate policy thing makes energy very expensive.
Sure does.
So, but yeah, again, you're whatever that's called, delivering emergency price relief for American families, defeating cost of living crisis. It's not really a whole lot of substantial things there.
A couple specifics would be cool.
Yeah, right? Like a specific
But I
example
guess
would
I
be
but
nice.
so but I guess this is this. in a way, it makes sense. It's just unfortunate that everything it's not the president. Like, dude, he's not the one setting the price of fucking eggs right now.
Correct. Yeah.
But the Department of Agriculture, through various chains, someone's in charge of the prices of eggs in Massachusetts.
Where does the
Like,
king of agriculture sit on the presidential succession line?
probably pretty far down. He's no postmaster general. Um, so it's like, yeah, you can go to these entities and say, like, hey, get these prices back under control. And it's like, okay, yeah, sure, chief. But if they say, like, you know, for any new development you build in a suburban city in your state, will provide, I don't know, $1,000 grant per unit built, whatever the fuck.
Right. Right.
They'll start building.
Yeah.
That'll help the housing supply. But like, yeah, again, it's like he didn't like. There's nothing tangible, but there also can't be anything tangible because he's the president of the United States, not the estimator
Yeah. He
for
doesn't just
whatever the
wave a
fuck
wand and
foods.
magically change prices of things. Right.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, the Secretary of Agriculture, believe it or not, sixth in the presidential line of succession.
That might be a sneaky value cabinet position.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I don't know if we've ever gotten past third in the line of succession.
So, oh, sorry. So it's he's sixth, or she is sixth in as far as cabinet members go. So tack on an extra three. So what is that?
Oh,
Nine?
way down there.
Still top 10.
Yeah, but way down. I mean, again, we've only gotten to three once when the vice president was removed and the current president was killed. Or no, impeached. Right? Wasn't that the Reagan deal?
Um, yeah, but I don't think they put the pro tempore. I don't think Gerald Ford was the pro
Oh,
tempore.
so they removed the vice president and then just put in a new vice president, and that was the designates. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So it was three people, but only two positions. Yeah, I mean, no one's ever gotten past vice president. So after that, who gives a fuck?
right, right. Yeah, but still, hey, you're top 10, right? Secretary of Agriculture. You're above the Secretary of Commerce and Health and Human Services, so you're above RFK. RFK Jr., I should say. Um, all right. What was I? Oh yeah, we were talking about the stupid executive order that has no tangible things. I also wanted to bring it up too, just because we spent the last 4 years shitting all over Biden and the Democrats. So I figured on day one, we can shit on Trump. We can do some shitting on there too. So just to keep it even, keep it fair, and remind people that, we're not staunch one way or the other. It just so happened that that for 4 years we had a fucking buffoon that was
The
just an
thing
easy
is,
target.
and right now, the most content's going to come from the Democratic side.
Right. Because they're unreasonable.
Yeah, the loud ones are. And
Yeah.
because they're so unreasonable, then like the conservatives just seem normal right now.
Right. Right. So the other thing, I have an update. I received an email from the Department of Education. Um, let me see if I can find it. So it's about student loans. So Biden created the SAVE plan, right? The repayment plan called SAVE. It's like saving on a valuable education, I think is what it stands for. Um, and it changed the way they calculated your payments. They had to do with like they raised the bar for what was eligible, right? So you would end up paying less, whatever, yada yada, right? Different plan. Um, Everyone was on it. Took forever to get through, but it went through. And then someone filed an injunction one of the like the attorney generals, probably from like Missouri or something like that. Um, they filed an injunction against it, which held it up in court since like November, maybe a little bit before. Maybe it was like September, September, October. They filed the injunction. It got held up in court because then I got a notice that my loans were no longer due. Right. And I was like, that's weird. Like, what's going on? So I looked into it. I found out that that's what happened. Trump wins the election in November, and then my loans get put into a forbearance. So, which means they don't collect interest, right? Like you're not, I don't have to pay them. But I continue to pay the same amount every month, chipping away at these stupid fucking things. And I just got a notice from the Department of Education that says this. Due to the court injunction, you are now in a general forbearance unless you obtained a different status because your loan servicer is not able to bill you at an amount required by the court injunction. So there's some goofy thing going on here where because of the injunction, it prevents them from calculating the amount that you owe properly. So therefore, they're just like, okay, we're just gonna put you in forbearance. Right? It seems like it doesn't make a ton of sense to me, but like, can't you just make a different calculation or whatever? I don't care. Realistically, doesn't matter to me because I'm still gonna pay the same amount every month. Um, this is the part that gets funny because I originally received an email back in like October that said my loan repayments would start in February. And I think I made a comment on the show when it happened. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, right? The election's in November. Trump's probably going to win. He gets sworn in January. And then, oh, you're going to have to start paying your loans back in February, right? It's like, it was like one last ditch effort, I thought at the time, right? By the Biden administration to try and get some votes, right? Because again, they threw the pause on like the September time frame. Well, in this email that I just received yesterday, it says you will be in forbearance until servicers are able to accurately calculate monthly payments, which FSA expects servicers to be able to do no earlier than September 2025. Borrowers will be informed of any further change to this litigation related forbearance. Under this general forbearance, you do not have to make your monthly payments. Interest is not accruing. However, time spent does not provide credit toward public service loan forgiveness or income based relief, which that's kind of the shitty part for anyone out there that's like super close to making their 120 payments, that's 10 years. If you're close to being paid for 10 years and you work for public service, right? If you're a teacher or a firefighter or whatever, you work for the government or the state, you're eligible for public service loan forgiveness where everything just goes away. We've talked about that before. Even though it doesn't just go away, you still have to pay taxes on it. It gets counted as income, right, in that 1 year. Um, but you don't get credit towards that, right?
What if you keep paying? Still no?
No. So what you
Oh,
have
so there's
what
no sense in paying.
what you have to do is write to not write to them because no one writes shit anymore. You just do it online. But you check a box that basically says you want to be removed from the forbearance, right? So then you basically they reclassify you into a different repayment program and your loans will start accruing interest and you'll be basically like you're not on the save plan, right? They just move you to a different plan, and they'll carry over your time, your payment schedule. So you may have to pay more, right, under a different payment plan. But if you're 6 months away from getting loan forgiveness, um, you can get those six more payments, right, and then get your loans forgiven. Otherwise, it doesn't count. So this is absurd. to me that they're just gonna not charge anybody interest on their loans and not have anyone pay until September.
Just keep paying them.
I mean, I'm gonna keep paying. That's what I do
Just
every
keep
month.
paying them.
I just keep paying. But it almost kind of feels a little bit like a setup, right? Like we've talked about this, right? We've talked about this before that the economy was like sort of fake inflated for a long time, right? And then was it last year? Well, it would be 2 years ago at this point. It would have been 2023. Um, they forced Biden to, you know, end the student loan pause, right? Because it was just crushing everything. And we talked about that, we did talk about it, right? Because they allowed, I think it was 9 months or 12 months of missed payments before it started negatively affecting your credit score. Like they wouldn't report you to the credit bureau. But then after like 6 or 7 months, they changed their mind and they were like, oh, yeah, no, we will report you to the credit bureau now. Like, do you remember having that conversation at all?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
I don't know. This
Um,
is a fucking never-ending saga.
but the whole thing about it is people owe this money, right? You have to pay, let's just use round numbers, right? Let's call it 300 bucks or $500, right? Whatever. If someone has a shit ton of student loans, you owe $500 a month. You haven't been paying that $500 for X number of months. It's normal human behavior to just spend that money in other ways, right? And this is the thing. The bill always comes due, right? That's part of the reason why I never stopped paying my student loans. One, because I want to fucking get rid of them. And two, because I want to take advantage of not accruing any interest. Like now is
Yeah,
the time to pay. If the loans aren't going to accrue any interest, you pay them now. You like now's the time to actually pay. But whatever. And then the other thing is the third one is again, I understand if I'm paying $300 a month every month and then I stop doing that, I'm gonna find some other way to spend that $300, right? And that's what happens. It's a normal thing. So if you have someone that owes 500 a month, hasn't had to pay them for a while, come September, October, November, what are they going to do when they have to scrounge up an extra $500? Right? And there's no leeway with the negative credit reporting this time either, right? Like you're fucked. You're going to get sent to a collection agency. They're going to show up at your house. They're going to send you letters, right? Like it's again, I'm not an economist. I don't pretend to be one, but it seems like a fake way to prop up the economy to me. Because of the sheer amount of people that owe student loans, right, in some way, shape, or form. Like you're just getting them to put their money back into other things instead of student loans because paying your loans isn't a way to stimulate economic growth or development. But you're not doing the people any favors.
no, that's odd. But I mean, I guess that's not really the administration's thing. That's the court's thing.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know,
just
man. I mean, for the last almost 5 full years, student loans have only been due for, has it even been 12 months?
I
Or
don't
I'm
think
sorry,
so.
student loans with accruing interest. Has it even been 12 months worth?
I don't think so.
And it's like over 5 years, if you did what you did,
I've paid off so much.
and especially with it only bringing the principal down.
Yeah.
And then if you didn't, and because like what a lot of people was like, well, just be more responsible with your money. It's like, yeah, but the problem is like they take on whether it's like a house or rent or a car. It's like a recurring payment.
Right.
It's not like the person is just spending $500 extra a month in shit that they can just get rid of.
Right. Right. Right.
Or
Right.
like, oh, well, I got 500 bucks a month. I'm going to take a trip every single long weekend
Yeah.
and I'm going to try to do it for 500 bucks and whatever. And it's like, it's like, ah,
No, like
fuck. Hey, like
their rent.
that was cool. Like student loans were gone for a while. I got to see some really cool places. Um, I'm a little bit older now too, so it's like I get it. I got to start paying my loans back. I won't be taking these like long weekend trips. So yeah, no, we're square.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what most people did. It's like rent is up or gas
Right.
is up
Or
or
if you were in an apartment that was 1800 dollars a month, right? You're like, oh, I got some extra money kicking around. Like I can afford $2,300 a month, right? So now you're paying $2,300 a month for your rent, and then your student loans are going to be due. And it's like, okay,
say
well,
never
do I
mind
pay my
shit.
loans or do I pay my rent?
I'm saying that's the other thing. Never mind your shit's just kind of gone up.
Right, that's true too.
So it's like you might have looked at it's like, hey, rent's going up, 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 and now it's all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, all
Right,
that buffer I had gone.
right, right. So yeah, I mean, it's weird. Everyone says Trump is going to be good for the economy, which I think he is, right? Again, he should be. He was the first time around. Um, but I just can't ignore the student loan thing because it stinks. It stinks, and it's not going to end well. I mean, you know this. You guys just went through and bought a house. Like the housing market has been unbearable for 2.5 years, 3 years, maybe at this point. Um,
Unbearable how or in what way?
like the price of
Interest rate?
houses, well, both. The price of the houses have exceedingly gone up, and interest rates were ridiculous, right?
Yeah, so we're talking 4+ years on crazy prices.
So it because it used to be, right? Like again, in the Massachusetts area, you could get a $300,000 house that needed $75,000 worth of work. You could get it all done. Maybe you could figure it out, right? You take the mortgage for whatever and you get it done. Now you get a $500,000 house and it needs $100,000 worth of work. And it's like, what is going on? Like this same house 6 years ago would have been 350 and you needed the 75, right? To do work into it. And now it's 500 and you need more and you've the same amount of work, but with inflation, whatever, call it, almost 100 grand. So it's wild. And then on top of that, that price of the house increasing, now you got an 8.5% interest rate.
And then obviously appraisers for higher, and yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah.
But I don't see Massachusetts actually changing much.
No.
Just people want to keep coming here and buying here.
Right. Well, for now, I think Massachusetts, the numbers just came out. We lost people again in 2024, like a net loss. So I think that's the second or third year in a row we've had a net loss of people.
Yeah, but it's that's the thing though, it's got to be significant numbers and it can't be renters, it's got to be actual property owners,
Right. Right.
um, including taxpayers. So like if a family of four leaves and there's two minors, that doesn't change.
Right.
Like if we're talking about changing the housing landscape, every detail matters because
Right.
I think people are still going to continue to buy these fucking things.
Let's see. I just asked ChatGPT if they could find the net change in population. Wow, look at that. This thing is fucking great. AI is so incredible. So the annual net change in Massachusetts population from 2020 to 2024. So In 2020, it was just over 7 million people. Oh, this is showing interesting. I wonder if this includes um, immigrants, illegal
Also, I
immigrants.
was gonna say it depends on where the reporting comes from, because some of these cities, towns, whatever, they push to get the illegals
Because this
counted.
shows an increase
Yeah, so again, it just depends on the
this year.
sources.
Yeah. It says the population went up 70,000 from 2024 to 2023.
70,000. I
70,000 people.
I think
That's
that's too little to be the immigrants. I think there's more than 70,000 immigrants. Maybe there's not.
yeah. That's odd because I saw something. I went to like a seminar or some stupid shit like a few months ago. Um, and I was talking about like Massachusetts corporate real estate. It was for corporate real estate stuff. Um, and they were talking about how the population in Massachusetts has shrunk for 2 years in a row. So it's got to be wherever ChatGPT got their information from versus these other people. Yeah, okay, here it is. These statistics reflect a positive trend in Massachusetts population dynamics, driven primarily by increased immigration in recent years. So this does account for immigrants.
I think the most accurate measures ignore college students, ignore immigrants, and truthfully should ignore minors too, in my opinion. It should really like if you want to really dive into this, I think the other piece is it should also include property owners, residential property owners, because if shitload of people leave downtown Boston as renters, that doesn't really change the housing outcome.
Right. So here's an interesting point. Analyzing Massachusetts population changes from 2020 to 2024, it's evident that international immigration played a significant role in the state's growth. For instance, between July 2023 and July 2024, New England experienced a net population increase of 123,000, which is 0.8%, with international immigration accounting for the entire gain. So that means there was more than 123,000 immigrants that came in.
That's why I thought 70 was low.
So because it says this influx offset natural decreases and domestic outmigration. So if we had a net increase of 123,000, that just means that there was 123,000 more immigrants that came in versus everyone that left. Right? So like if 100,000 people left, that means we got 223,000 immigrants.
Yeah, I just in this again, like outside of like a real like good recession, I don't think Massachusetts housing changes because unfortunately, like 100,000 people, it really matters how many
Right.
own property.
Right. Yeah, that's true. But just in and of itself, kind of an interesting fact there about Massachusetts. The only reason for the population increase is
Yeah.
immigrants. Um, all right, let's see. What do we got? I got one more thing and then we can wrap it up here. Um, and I know it might actually be a good segue into your final thought if you're going to talk about Comcast, because I was back on the phone with Comcast again today. I've talked to Comcast more times in the last like month, probably than I've talked to my mother. Like I'm on the phone with Comcast like every other day at this point. So obviously with the project in San Francisco, like I'm not there, right? It's not like I can hop in the car and go down the street and get to the San Francisco job site. There were issues with the cable TV on one of the floors there. We couldn't get it to work. I called last week. I got them set up to send out a tech Friday afternoon. I give them the phone number and the contact of someone that's going to be there, and I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything from the contact who works for one of our vendors. I don't hear anything from Comcast. Okay. Yesterday's a holiday. Get through today. I don't really hear anything. So I tracked down the guy who works for the vendor that's out there. And I give him a call. And I'm like, hey man, what happened last Friday with Comcast? Are we all set? Because my boss is out there right now and he was sending me pictures of all the TVs being like they're not working. They all have error messages on the TVs. And I go, what's up? Like, what happened on Friday? And he was like, oh, yeah. So the guy from Comcast called me and said he needed to reschedule for Monday. And I was here all day yesterday, and then he never showed up and he never called me back. And I go, okay, were you going to let me know? And he was like, oh, yeah, no, like I just got busy and I forgot or whatever. And I was like, all right, sick. So he's like, yeah, now it was noon out there when I talked to him. So it was probably like 3 o'clock, almost 3 o'clock here. And he's like, yeah, it's noon here now on Tuesday, and I still haven't heard from him. So I'm like, all right, I'll call him back. So I call Comcast, get on the phone, 800-391-3000. And I finally get someone on the line after entering my account number, doing the whole thing, give the address every single fucking time. And I go, hey, so I talked to someone who's on site. I explain the situation. I go, I'm not local, right? I have to rely on people that are. I go, one of my vendors was out there. They said they were going to meet with him. They said the tech called him on Friday, said he was going to reschedule for Monday, but then no showed. So the guy goes, okay, let me look it up in the system. So he pulls it up and he goes, oh, this was not rescheduled for Monday. He goes, this was rescheduled for tomorrow between 12 and 2. And I go, okay. And he goes, it's in the books, right? It wasn't changed. Like this is how it was. This is how it was put in. So I go, okay. So that's just not helpful that this guy just either lied or my vendor just didn't understand what was going on. So I'm like, all right, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I call the guy back and I go, hey man, just got off the phone with Comcast. They have you on the books for tomorrow between 12 and 2. And he's like, all right, cool. And I go, I gave them your name and your phone number, and they're going to call you when they get there. He's like, all right, cool. I'll be here. Cool, man. So I fucking hope that Comcast figures out whatever they need to do tomorrow because I am so done dealing with Comcast and this cable TV situation. I will say this time on the phone with Comcast, right? Like actually not just this time. Maybe it's just been a Comcast business thing. Um, but the actual customer representatives that the agents that I've spoken to have all been pretty helpful. So I do want to give props where props are due, right? Like for as shitty as Comcast is, um, I would say that at least the last three people that I've spoken to on the Comcast business helpline have all been pretty helpful, right? They haven't been shitty, they haven't been dumb, right? Like they've been pretty good. So no real complaints there, just complaints that I have to keep calling them back to fix shit. So that said, you want to wrap this up?
We can wrap this up. Um, so after probably 6 months, yes, I still have the Comcast number memorized because I had to call them. And I'm usually not the type of person that gives a fuck that all these calls are outsourced to fucking India, Sri Lanka, or Bangladesh. Like I know some people get so upset and they're just like, I just want to speak to someone who speaks English. And it's like, dude, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Like I know that's what's happening. It's usually not a big deal for me. It's only a big deal when the person on the other line cannot effectively communicate what the fuck they're trying to tell me, which is
Sir,
what
it's
I
very
ran
loud where
into.
you are right now. I'm gonna have to hang up and call you back. Nope, it's loud where
Like,
you are, you dumb
yeah.
bitch.
So it was like my bill was off. It was like 14 bucks higher. And I'm like, why the fuck is this wrong? And it's like some people, oh, who cares? It's 14 bucks. Principal.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, well, so I get through and it's like Ava from fucking Pakistan or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, the bill went up. Like, why? She goes, oh, well, if you look on your last bill, it like notifies you like where it went up. I go, I didn't ask how. I asked why.
Right.
But why did it go up? She goes, oh, well, if you like open your bill, you'll see the notification there. I go, in April, I signed a 24-month agreement on the service and I'm locked into that rate. Why did the price go up off my 24-month agreement? And she's like, well, if you go to your bill, I go, I don't want to go to my bill. I want you to tell me why it went up off the 20 what you like what I signed this 24 month.
Right.
I go, why did it go up? I go, because I guarantee you, if I tried to cancel, you would throw that 24-month agreement in my fucking face. But because you guys went up on something or whatever, it's cool. I go, it ain't cool. Oh, hold on. Goes to it. Oh, okay, I'm seeing the agreement. And if you go to your bill, I'm like, why am I
Jesus
going
fucking
back to my
Christ.
bill? She goes, you'll see there was a notification. I'm like, I see the notification. I go, I didn't read the fucking bill. I don't read the bills. I look at the
Yeah.
number,
Yeah.
and the number ain't right.
Right.
So don't ask me to read the fucking bill. Don't ever fucking do that again. And I go, if you cannot explain to me why this bill has gone up from the 24-month agreement, please find someone that can. Oh, can I put you on hold? Sure. Why the fuck not?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking pissed. I am like so fucking like beyond myself. And I'm like, I was seriously about to take the phone, throw it against the wall, not say a word, just get up, go out to Target and buy a new one and come back. I was so ready to. Like, oh, okay, if you look at the bill, that's not what I'm fucking asking you.
Yeah. I don't give a shit about the bill.
So, for the first time in my time of calling Comcast, usually it's like they say they'll do something, they just don't do it.
Yeah.
This was the first
Yeah,
time
like
in
I'll call
all
you
of my
back in
calling.
5 minutes.
No, again, it's like, no way. Actually, I got disconnected the first time I called. Um, in all my years of the calling, it's always like someone, whatever. This is the first time that the woman literally could not convey what the issue was. So 30 minutes later, she
Oh my
finally says a
God.
word. There's finally a word that gets me to figure it out. She said something about government. I go, did you just say government? She goes, yeah. She goes, the government sets the rates. I go, fuck. I go, this took a half hour. I go, I gotta go. I don't have time for this shit anymore. I go, I gotta go. Like, I'll call back if I still have problems. Because what she could not fucking tell me was there are things on the bill. Because again, if you remember what I said to you, was the same thing I said to her. Why did I sign this agreement if the bill went up?
Right.
Well, the agreement only covers a portion of things. Like there's federal regulatory fees and all this shit.
Right.
So it's mostly that stuff that went up. Now the Comcast equipment package also went up, which fuck you.
Yeah, why don't you just buy your own router?
You can't with business.
Oh.
Um, or you can't like you can, but yeah you can, but you can't.
Yeah, you can get, I mean, you can, but it's way more expensive because at that point you have to buy your own network gear and you're
Well,
going
that's
to
the thing. You
need
need to
like,
buy like I got like three or four things under there just
yeah,
for one phone line and one internet.
right, right. Yeah, you got to have all your switches and your
So I pull
fucking,
up my 24-month agreement, me wondering why, and uh, that's why. There are certain costs that are locked. There are certain costs that are not locked, of which this person in Kyrgyzstan or Dagestan could not fucking explain to me. And was I running hot? Sure was. Because before I called Comcast, this is when I came into work. I got the Comcast bill and I got fucking notification from our gym software. Now, the gym software we've had for 10 years and I've been using it for longer. But we've had the company for 10 years. We've been using it since then. Do I like the software? No, I don't. Have I used other software? No, I haven't. So I don't know what's better, worse, indifferent, whatever. But this is the same company that once upon a time doubled my bill and uh, downgraded my package all in one. So
oh, good.
they took me for if it's like tier one, tier two, tier three being the best. Like we were like tier three, and it was like $62 a month. And then they let me know that in like 60 days, it was going to be like 125 a month, and you're tier one now.
Cool.
And I just replied back. I go, what the fuck did I do to deserve not only a 100% bill increase, but also a decrease in my
In,
subscription?
yeah, in service offering.
So I lost features and I'm paying double.
Yeah,
Now, you would think that should have been time to go. But the problem is, it's really fucking hard to change an entire database of people.
yeah,
And there's no easy way to just download the entire client list, obviously. Um, and the entire client list, we were gonna have to get new credit card. It was gonna be a lot of work for two people, like
right,
a lot of work for two people.
right.
And it's just something that we really didn't want to fucking do. So the software, I mean, it's again, it's fine. We know how to use it. It does its job. It's whatever. It's too expensive. Fine. So I get a notification from them that they're changing payment processing. And I go, here we fucking go again with payment processing. Because this happened, I don't know, a few months ago. Someone came in, they were like, "Oh, who do you use for payment processing?" I go, "My software has one specific one, and they don't let you integrate with anybody else."
Right.
And he's like, he goes, "Well, what is it? I'll call my boss, and if we can do it, I'll come back." I go, "It's mind body, go nuts." And he comes back, he goes, "My boss said we could do it." I go, "Really?"
Ha.
He's like, "Yeah." I go, "I'm sorry, dude." I go, "I do not believe you." I go, "For years, they did not support other payment processors.
Right.
Everyone that came to me, oh yeah, no, we integrate with everyone. We integrate with everyone. We integrate with everyone. Oh, sorry, we don't integrate with MindBody. Sorry, we don't
Yeah.
integrate with MindBody. Oh, I called MindBody. We can't integrate with them. I'm like, I fucking told you that.
Right. Right.
Well, it's 10 years of this.
Yeah.
So, and then, I'm like, you know what? I don't know why I'm doing this, but I call MindBody and I go, can I use a different payment processor? They're like, yeah, if they integrate with us. I go, really? She's like, yeah. I go, never used to be that way. She goes, yeah, I mean, if they integrate with our software, like it's cool. And then
Okay.
I'm like, all right, dude. So they said they'll integrate. I go, if you'll integrate with them, they said it's cool. I go, so get me the rates. And he gives me the rates. I go, all right, so I gotta do my math, like, see ya. And you go, oh, I can sign you up now. I go, sign me up for what? I go, I haven't done the math. Like the math
Right.
has to be right.
Right. Right.
He's like, yeah, yeah, what? I'm like, no. I
Yeah,
go, if
that's
you
not
need
how
an
this
answer now, the
works.
answer is no.
Right.
So he gives me his sheet. I just take it. I scanned it into, it was weird. And like, I knew at this point, I'm like, I'm not going with this kid because he was like, I'm like, all right, can I keep this? He goes, yeah. He goes, actually, he goes, let me grab that back. I go, all right, can I scan it? Because I need to check it.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, yeah. I'm like, okay. So he goes away, scans it, and I do the math. Math does not work out, not even close.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, maybe something else. So I did math the second way. Not even close. So at this rate, I go, fuck this. I go, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
So he comes back in because I also look on the quote, no contact info anywhere. I go, I'm done. I go,
That's a
that's
good sales guy.
I go, I'm done. Because I wasn't, and this is the problem. This is on me because I wasn't really paying attention to him or what he had to say. So I wasn't paying attention to contact info or
Right.
cards or any of it. So,
Yeah.
I scanned the quote, looked up the company, and then when I started doing the math, I realized I didn't have contact info. I go, this is not
Yeah.
whatever. So he came back in. I'm like, yeah, hey man, sorry. I go, the math doesn't work. He goes, oh, he goes, how come? I go, I don't know. I go, it's your math.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I sent it off to whoever with the rates. He goes, it should be fine. I go, it's not.
Yeah. You're not cheaper. You're
I
not
go, it's not.
saving me any
I go,
money.
the math doesn't add up. And he's like, well, what parts? I go, all of it.
Yeah.
And he's like, he goes, I'm just trying to learn. I go, yeah, man, I know. He's like, you're doing a good job. I go, whoever did this math is wrong.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, do you have your math? I go, no. I go, because I did it on fucking paper. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you go, no, I don't have it. And even if I did, fuck that. This ends now. I
Right.
go, the other piece, man, I go, I would have saved you a trip. I go, you didn't give me your contact info. I go, there's no
Right.
contact info anywhere. You, your supervisor, no one.
Right.
He's like, oh, I'll give you my cell phone. I go, you don't have to.
It's too late now.
I go, I'm done. So my body sends the email, hey, we're changing payment processors. I
Oh
go,
God.
here we fucking go
You
again.
change into that company.
It's not.
Oh, that would have been
So
funny.
Chris replies to the email, like, hey, just let us know what the rates are going to be because my body's doing their own, whatever. And the woman goes, oh, you're paying an effective 3.7%. So you'll save a little bit because your rate will be 3.6 and 10 cents a transaction. And Chris forwards me the email. I go, it's not fucking right. I go, why do these people continue to, like, I'm an idiot. I fucking get it. Why do these people continue to fucking lie to me like I'm a fucking baseless retard? Like, like, why do you continue to lie to me? It's not 3.7. It's simple division. Simple division tells you it's just shy of 3.6. And when you're using a year's worth of revenue, the 3.59 and 3.6 actually fucking matters.
It
So it's like
does.
it's 3.59 and change. It's not 3.7. Thus, 3.6 in a 10-cent transaction is about 160 bucks more per year. I'm like, I want to pay less and you're offering me more. Again, treating me like I don't know, like I can't do fucking division. I'm like, you people can't fucking do division.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's just fucking division.
It's literally just, it sounds like it's just a blatant lie. It's like, oh no, we charge you 3.7 now. It's
It's
like, no, you
oh yeah, your
don't.
effective rate now is 3.7. No, it's not. It
Yeah.
is not
Yeah.
because you take one number and divide it by a bigger number and you get a really, really, really small decimal
Yeah.
and you move it over too.
Right. And
It's
that tells you,
3.59.
yeah.
It's not 3.7. So thus 3.6 plus a 10 cents transaction fee over 1600 transactions, about 160 bucks.
A
I'm like,
year or a
what?
month.
That would be a year.
Yeah.
But I'm like, again, why do you continue to fucking tell me these things? And I'm at my fucking wit's end because I had a good day last Wednesday. Someone came, fixed the garage door, getting to work. That
Yeah.
like beside my fucking self. Like up here, vein popping out of my head. Literally. It took like 45 minutes to fucking calm down. I'm going to have a brain aneurysm and it's going to be Comcast and mind body. Dude, whoever runs the simulation on my life specifically, because I'm not important to be part of like the bigger simulation, but whoever's running mine must have like forgot that they scheduled like a Comcast issue the same day that they also fired a mind body issue. Like they must have done one like ahead of time and then like because usually it's
Yeah, they
like those
pre-scheduled one.
those two are like the bane of my fucking existence.
Yeah, and to happen on the same day
Same day,
within minutes of each other.
minutes, like from when I got to because I went into work late because the guy was doing the garage door.
Right.
And I'm just like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. And then of course, so everyone sees me flipping out like behind the desk. So one of the guys, he goes, "Hey, my brother-in-law does payment processing. Like he might be able to help with something." I go, I told Chris, I go, you handle it. I go, I am fucking done here.
I'm done. Here's what we currently have. This is how you do the
Well, this because this
math.
is the thing
You
that
tell
like the
me.
payment processors, they can always put in their platform, and that's fine. But I have an online scheduling software. I have scheduling, I have
Right,
appointments, and I pull payroll. No, I don't submit payroll, but I pull a payroll figure from it in
right,
time and attendance, all that.
right, right,
Like, that's all I need. Payment processors don't offer that. That's not their thing.
right.
And I'm sitting here losing my fucking mind. So I was trying a new software today, and I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna work, but like
Yeah,
I'm trying to learn it in a 7 day demo or a 7 day free trial.
yeah. Like to leave mind body, you mean?
Yes,
Yeah,
because I am fucking done with them.
yeah. Yeah, we used them when I worked at
Dude, they're a
Fitness
popular
Together.
company. So they're a popular company. It's just um in all actuality, it is a clunky software. It's not a smooth software.
Yeah, I remember not liking it at
The
Fitness Together.
reporting is like some reports are good and some are very, very bad. And it's not a good app for the clients either. Like it's not easy, it's not simple, it's not straightforward.
Yeah,
Now the only problem is some of these other ones are like too accommodating. So like Acuity, I need to go in and shut off a ton of settings because it's set up like anyone off the street can just buy into the program, first name, last name, phone, and email.
right.
And I'm like, first of all, I go, we're by age, we're by class. I go, athletes get their own programs. So it's like, yeah, I could throw in like some crazy price, like it's $1,000, and like someone might pay it, which they won't. They'd be like, oh, I saw something that was like $1,000. Like, oh yeah, that's a fake thing.
Yeah.
It's a fake thing? Yeah, don't buy that. Nothing costs $1,000. Um, but the thing is, like, we make programs for people, we assess people, like we test them, like you
Right,
can't just come in off the street. And never mind, like if I don't expect you, I'm like, who the fuck?
right,
What?
right.
Um, so that's the thing is like the one I was testing out today seemed just to be a little too accommodating. So I'm gonna have to go in and see if I can like shut off every setting and
Yeah,
get it. Because that's the other piece is like the kids need to be able to sign up for class. So it's like, the varsity kids need to be able to sign up for varsity classes, JV for JV, youth for youth. Like it needs to correspond. And I'm sure there's a way. I just haven't learned it yet.
right. Then
And
you have to
then
deal with the migration too. Like how easy is it to
I think
migrate?
it's a little bit easier. It's going to be a pain in the ass getting new payment info from people, but
Yeah,
I mean, again, I don't care. Like, it's, I can't fucking do this anymore, dude.
yeah,
I'm literally about to light myself on fire over software.
yeah. Be the
Like, I
first
was
person ever
seriously
to
like, you know what?
self-immolate
I'm
over
actually thinking about
software.
leaving a hammer next to my mouse so that when, like, I get a shit email like that, I can just put my hand on it, smash my hand with the hammer, and then go back to work.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that could work.
I'm sure that would be great for psychological reinforcement.
I think so. I think that's how that works.
Yeah. So if anyone knows any good class scheduling software, let me know.
Uh,
And if you have an open platform for payment processors, even better.
yeah, but make sure your math is correct.
And don't fucking lie to me.
Yeah.
Don't lie. That's the thing. Don't lie to me on something. I can't prove anything. I'm not that smart. I can prove like 12 things in this world, and division is one of them. Don't lie to me about division, please.
Yeah. So, my final thought is the TGL. I think I'm out. I think I'm out because
Right on.
this is my point. That's a great question. Is it on? I don't know. Because what's the number one thing about anything that's new that's trying to get interest, right? Whether you're trying to get a following somewhere or create a product or anything like that, consistency, right? Consistency is the number one thing that everyone always says, right? That's why when we started this show, we were like, we are going to release an episode every Monday and Thursday. There's been times where it's just been one of us, or we've had to do a 15-minute episode, like whatever we got to do, like it's gonna be consistent, right? When does the TGL start? We have no idea. Yeah, it's on Tuesday. After last week, we finished recording. I went to go put it on TV because the first week it started at 9 o'clock, right? So we finished recording. It was probably quarter to nine. I hopped in the shower, changed, did what I got to do, sit down, turn the TV on. I can't find the TGL anywhere. So I'm like, oh, that's weird. Whatever. So I just watched something else. Then I go to bed. The next day I look. This was last Wednesday. I'm like, oh, because I saw everyone post. Because that was the whole thing I wanted to watch because it was Tiger's team, right, against Rory's team. So like I wanted to watch. And then the next day I saw on Twitter everyone was tweeting about it. And I go, what the fuck? It wasn't on last night. Like, what did I miss? So I go on the TGL website. Last week started at 7 o'clock. So I go, oh, this doesn't make any fucking sense. So then I tried to pull up a schedule. And I think the schedule I saw was one week was 9 o'clock, one week was 7 o'clock, one week was 7:30, one week was 9 o'clock, one week was 8:30. And it's like, how the fuck are you supposed to know when this is on? Like, when is football on? Monday night, 8:15, right? Thursday night, 8:15. Sunday, 1 o'clock, 4:30, 8:15. Like, that's always the time. When is basketball on? It's usually always 8:15, 9:15, or 10:15, depending on the time zone that it's in. Right? Same thing with hockey. What's the joke? The 7:15 puck drop means or 7:15 start time means a 7:24 puck drop. Right? It's 7:15, 8:15, 9:15. It depends on what time zone it's in. Like, how can you just have random times and expect people to watch? Because again, you have someone like me who wants to like the sport. I want to watch the first week, 9 o'clock. Okay, it's on every Tuesday at 9 o'clock. Because why would it change? Right? Everything's sports are always the same time, same day. And it's just not. It was 7 o'clock that day. So I have no idea what time it's on tonight. I'm not going to watch now because I don't care because I'm pissed off. And I probably already missed it. It was probably 7:30 today. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on like not the live feed. I'm on like the matchup. I I don't know what the fuck is happening.
Yeah.
It looks like Atlanta went up 2-0 in triples, and now they're on singles, but like Cameron Young versus Justin Thomas is here twice.
Yeah.
And it's like Matt Fitzpatrick and Billy Horschel are on hole 14. It says 2 holes to go. Dude, I don't know what the hell. I don't know what the fuck I'm watching.
Yeah, so it's on 7 o'clock today. So I have the schedule now. I pulled it up. So the first night was a Tuesday at 9 o'clock. That was 3 weeks ago. So last week or 2 weeks ago, last week it started at 7 o'clock or 7:30. Tonight was 7 o'clock. Next week, it's Monday at 6:30. The week after that, Tuesday at 9 o'clock. The week after that, Monday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Is that the holiday?
Yeah, it's a holiday. The week after that, Tuesday at 7. The week after that, Monday at 5 p.m. The week after that, Tuesday at 9. The week after that, Monday at 3 p.m. Like then it then it's Tuesday at 7. Like none of these times make any sense.
I don't know what the fuck that was.
So I think I think I'm out on the TGL. The way I look at it now, if it's on when I happen to have the TV on and I'm scrolling channels, I'll watch it. But I'm not going to go out of my way to try and watch it. So fix your fucking schedule.
I'm this week. Took Atlanta.
Oh, you bet on it?
Yeah. Ian Mac told me to.
Oh, okay. All right. I missed
And
that
by
one.
told me to, he put out an article.
I missed it.
So I bet on it. I don't know if I'm in good shape or not. I
Yeah,
don't know.
who
Like
knows?
it's like Atlanta's up 4-0, but I'm like, is that like a real 4-0 or is that like a Ryder Cup 4-0 where
It could
if
change. Yeah.
someone flips the hole, like I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah. So so that's gonna do it. So thanks for watching. If you're on YouTube, hit subscribe up above, hit the thumbs up down below. Subscribe if you're an audio only guy. Leave us a review on Spotify and iTunes. You get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. Twitter is sarcasm_speaks. Facebook is sarcasm speaks. Check out the show notes below. Support the sponsors, support us. And until next time, good night, everybody.